Welcome United. We have a great episode for you today. I'm here from the Hattle Hall, Assembly Hall, to give you a sneak preview of some of the highlights and the great things coming this episode. Enjoy.
That's what DistinXion is trying to do, is disrupt the marketplace in that way. We can still be competitive and we can still do things for the right reasons.
I get concerned that sometimes sports is shaping just for the sports, and their identity and who they are is not going to be there. Tyler went up for a shot, and allegedly I fouled him, but ultimately his head hit the wall.
So we have a game.
Let's do it.
The game's called Know Your Zeller.
Ooh, that's Cody. He's got the best footwork of... But wait, did Tyler play?
Ooh, this is a good question. Thank you to the committee. Pondering, thinking deeply. You get to a spot without her being committed to me and the dream and the goal, I don't make it.
Welcome to United with Big Team at Indiana University. This is our podcast on student-athlete mental health in collaboration with Luke and Hope Foundation. I'm your host, Dr. Jesse Steinfeld, and I am super excited about today's episode. I'm going to talk with my good friends, Dr. Hope Zeller and her husband, Luke. We're going to talk about a whole host of interesting topics, ranging from doing youth sport right to over 21 feet of Zeller brothers to empirical research and an upcoming book on youth sports and other engaging areas. So, Hope, Luke, welcome. So glad to have you on the podcast.
Glad to be here. I just figured ladies first, so I just, you go for it.
You're an eternal gentleman.
Chivalry's not dead. I'm just trying to bring it back. So, ladies first. Go for it.
Well, you usually talk over me, so I was just letting
ladies
you go.
first.
Well, welcome, you guys. So, in
Thanks,
honor
Matt.
of our historic, undefeated national champion, Indiana Hoosier football team, we have a unique way of introducing our guests. So, we're going to bring Luke and Hope onto the episode with the help of Coach Signetti. So, Coach Sigs, let's get it started.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
So Zellers, and we'll go with Hope first. If Coach Sigs Googled you, what would a search come up with?
Well, I prepped Luke for this question, so actually he has to go first.
All right, so here's my script. If Coach Sigs Googled me, he'd find basketball. And then I wrote in, and that I win. So I added to the script. I'm already off script, Jesse. We're just barely into this. I just felt like in the spirit of Coach Sigs, I want that mindset.
I would say that if he Googled me, it would be that he played basketball or he had a lifetime of basketball, but I have made a career about researching basketball and how it's managed and how it's maintained and the intersection of sport and family within the kind of professional sport world.
And this is where, Jesse, I'm supposed to say that's actually pretty accurate. We'll go off script later, though. She's the one with all the degrees and a plan. Jesse, I'm more of a pickup basketball kind of person.
You should get the rebounds and put it back in the basket. That's
You got it. And win.
But you mentioned the idea of basketball and then researching it and all that stuff. Hope. Let's talk with both of you about your DistinXion Organization. In an era where youth sportsmen sort of co-opted by expensive elite travel teams that a lot of times value exposure over development, your program stands out. So as a professional in the field and as a parent of athletes, I applaud these efforts you guys are making. So tell our audience a little bit about what you do, how you got started, what you aim to do with DistinXion.
Good. It all started, I was in college in a business plan class, and writing for a class, had to put some things together. I'd been in some faith-oriented development programs. I was in DECA, was able to make nationals at that in marketing, and I was in basketball. And there was never anything together where you had the whole person, where it was sports, plus it was character, plus it was leadership. And I thought, well, these aren't isolated as people. We're not isolated by our development. And so I wrote a plan for it, put it all together. And I'll never forget, my professor walked up. He was a Fortune 500 CEO, retired Fortune 500 CEO. And he walked up, he held my paper. He said, "Have you learned anything since you've been at Notre Dame?" And I thought, oh boy, that grade's not real pretty. And he slapped it down on my desk and had an A on it. He said, a nonprofit makes no sense. And I said, well, I've learned a lot of things at Notre Dame, and I appreciate the business, the profit and loss, all the financials and those things. But I learned even more growing up in Southern Indiana about the people that could be involved and the difference that could be made with those people to be able to be there. And just believe in the volunteers, believe in the scholarships for kids on free reduced lunches, believe in building up the entire person. Then had an opportunity for DistinXion. Hope and I started dating right after that. She got to be able to come together with that. And so 16 years later, we've been proud to be able to be here. The kids I coached this year weren't born when I started, which makes me old, but also a part of being proud of the 16 years of legacy and making a difference. And so, I think as you look at being able to develop and help people, sports should be that, right? Naismith started basketball in a way that sports was there for young men to be able to play basketball, so they had an activity. Like, there should be a core to where it's at, and I think today, I don't mind that there's money and involvement and everything else, but let's not forget about the development of people through sports. And Hope's research has done a great job of amplifying that, and DistinXion's done a good job of just being out there in the communities making a difference.
Amen. I think it's sometimes seen as either or, but this is a both and, right? You can
Agreed.
do something on the private side, but you can also then do it where it's meaningful and intentional and highlights the development of things that we know sports are going to help kids develop.
Yeah, I think when you look at my co-author, Cassie Coble, and I are writing a textbook on the business of youth sport. And so the framework that we use, or the model that we use, which is the youth system model, we look at and categorize youth sport organizations on a bit of a continuum. Because when you say youth sport in the United States, you can think of everything from the YMCA 5-year-old basketball fun league all the way up to gymnasts going to the Olympics, right? So we wanted to find a way to kind of categorize these different types of youth sport experiences, and we categorized it into 4 quadrants on a graph where we connect the travel requirements and the competitive level and graph them accordingly. So if the travel requirements are from local travel requirements all the way up to international requirements, and the horizontal axis is the competitive level, which is from recreation all the way up to competitive, then we see these trends among these different youth sport organizations from kind of the local opportunities all the way up to travel teams. And so DistinXion really falls into this competitive travel team where historically character development and child development and family development all kind of go by the wayside. And I think that's what DistinXion is trying to do, is disrupt the marketplace in that way of marrying the thought of we can still be competitive and we can still do things for the right reasons to help kids and to develop families and things like that. You still have to play the game a little bit in the sense of, like, we're still going to AAU tournaments where we may not think that that's the best basketball. So it's a difficult balance for sure, but I think the market is ready to be disrupted in that way.
Jesse, you played in Europe, 2-sport professional athlete, which I still can't wrap my mind around. I was a 1-sport professional athlete, and that was a journey. But the European model of true development, where we're not there yet, but it's one of those that we want to disrupt the culture in a way that there's a really good model. There's a reason the last, either 6 NBA MVPs have not been from America. Like, there's some development issues in how we're developing players, and I think in Indiana we should be the spot that fixes that. So DistinXion's trying to be the proponent of truly being, we've got John Wooden in Southern Indiana, we've got people here, like, we should be able to fix it in Indiana. And I have it's that hometown, I get a little fired up, I probably shouldn't on that side, but we also have had it shaped by experiences of seeing it done well. Mm-hmm. We moved 33 times in 5 years through our career, and the San Antonio Spurs are the best culture I've ever been a part of. And you talk about elite champions of who they are and multiple stories of like, they took care of us when I was in the G League making $13,000, unemployed and workers' comp, and they paid for our apartment, Jesse. Like they truly did some things that were there, and to take that best culture, and Daniel Coyle in his book, Culture Code, talks about the Navy SEALs, San Antonio Spurs, all these cultures, to take that culture and try to bring it to these local communities that wouldn't have access to it. And try to level that playing field in a powerful way is why we're a nonprofit. It's why we want to be able to have those opportunities. Doesn't mean there's not a cost and a value to be able to put those together, but we want to be able to present that in a way that makes a difference. And I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of a throwback thing, but it's a little bit of that defend home. And you know what? Coach Signetti, I guess, has got all of us in Southern Indiana believing in something different. Actually, that's a speech I gave, Jesse, one of the games that we were playing this summer. We played a team, our girls team played a team that was the #1 ranked team in this whole bracket. They were on ESPN2 the day before. And we line up before the game, and I told them, I said, you know what? Where was IU football at a few years ago? They said, were they #1? Were they #2? They said, well, no. I said, you know what? We just got to believe. Like Coach Signetti's believing. I gave this great speech. Jesse, we came up. We were up 5-0. And then the 6'2", 6'3" girls that were all D1 ranked took over and had to call timeout. But we had this great start to where we're at. And I think some of it is that belief and getting there, that you believe in character. You believe in development. You believe in the things that the research shows needs to be able to be there, but you have to disrupt it and kind of get in that own space. And I don't know, we get pretty comfortable of, we'll find the research, we'll find some of that, but let's see what we can do to disrupt it to make a difference for the kids here.
It's a great point. I mean, you both talked about disrupting the system. I think parents are ready for a different model. Again, it's sort of been almost like we're on a carousel we can't get off. It's just speeding by, right? We've really done wrong by youth sport, right? And well intended, but so the point I'm making is that having a disruption, having a option, because unilaterally saying I don't want to do this, well then you might screw your kid of opportunity instead of having a place they can go to get the opportunity and get the development and get some Ted Lasso-ish, Kurt Signetti, go believe juice up in their system.
100%. By the way, we have a game between the coaches of how many Ted Lasso quotes can you get in the game. So the goldfish one comes out there. You know, we've got things, if it's not uncomfortable, like you're riding a horse for the first time, like we try to work those in. It keeps entertaining our coaches.
That's gold. That's absolute gold. What's the secret sauce? What is it that you do in distinction? What are some of the tangible things that a parent or a kid might see that illustrates this intentionality chapter?
One context, and then answer your question. So we did camps coming out, right? We did camps. It was character development, and that was kind of our first chapter from 2009 to COVID. We did almost 100 camps. We had 5,000 campers. 1,000 of them were free and reduced lunches, so donors paid for them to come as a nonprofit. So that was kind of the model. And so we had interns. We had pretty cool. One of our interns is the assistant GM of the Orlando Magic now. One of them just won a championship with the New York Knicks. So it was fun. That just people development was there, and it was a blast. And then COVID hits, Jesse. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at a budget of camps, and that's the majority of our funding, and it's going to be zero. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, big groups of people get together March of 2020. That's a terrible idea. So we luckily had PPP. We moved on from our staff. We started these teams to kind of, our campers wanted AU teams. So we started teams. We kept investing in those relationships there. So fast forward now, the chapter since COVID has been largely around our teams. We had 11 teams this year. Since then, we've had over 100 college athletes, multiple D1 in that mix. And so they've been able to move from high school into college and that relationships. The biggest difference from camps to teams is two things. We practice and we teach. It's not fancy, right? Like at some point in basketball, you have to get better at basketball. You have to work on repetition to get better. You have to work on getting feedback and teaching. So we practice a lot. I mean, we had workouts. We had 20 plus practices for all of our teams. Then we had individual workouts in Bloomington and Evansville and in southeastern Indiana. So it could be less than a 45-minute drive for every one of our players during the week. And so we had probably 60 workouts between those three groups. And so they each had a chance to practice 4 times a week. 2 of them local. Friday night, drive into Washington. Saturday, drive to Bloomington, come to practice. And so now you're getting that 4 days a week practice, close to that European model, true development. And then from there, the secret sauce is, Jesse, when they show up, you get to know them. Mm-hmm. You're not just showing up on a weekend and saying, hey, here's a new jersey. And by the way, introduce yourself to the teammates you're walking into. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not, I hated playing in all-star games. You know, you're not looking out for teams and commitment and purpose. So I think to teach character, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some relationships, but our biggest secret is that we practice, we invest in people, and we think about character and basketball on an elite level for both. And you can talk about our Champions acronym and just kind of how we teach those.
Yeah, so we have a Champions acronym that we've used for all 16 years that we've been doing it to teach character and to build leadership. So Champions is character, honesty, attitude, motivation, perseverance, I am responsible, optimism, network of friends, and serve others. That's a lot to remember, but I got it. Through those fundamental values, we teach athletes, our coaches, the athlete families, how to show that in just normal life, on and off the court. Another important thing that Luke is being a little humble about is the positive coaching methods that they are very intentional about. Instead of the whole adage of like, tell them what they should do, not what they shouldn't do, right? So if you tell a batter, don't drop your elbow, what are they going to be thinking about? Dropping their elbow, right? Yep. So having positive and little things like we don't curse. They may yell, but it's always a positive, and it's always a very intentional way to motivate them rather than putting athletes down, which is sometimes unfortunately the case in youth sport.
Absolutely, right? Again, this goes back to the both and concept. You can be competitive and intense, but you can also be positive and uplifting. And my brother's a high school football coach, right? And he's one of my mentors, role models, love him. He had really good offensive guru. When he works with quarterbacks, kid comes off the field after throwing an interception, he always asks, what'd you see? Right? Now again, in his mind, he's like, why'd you do that? Or blah, blah, blah. Swallow it, hold it, what'd you see? And from that, we can have a conversation around it and correct it to be better next time, versus the frustration I'm feeling that you're gonna feel as a competitive coach. Yeah, let's find a way to minimize that and then help the kid grow and develop. And so, yeah, these aren't crazy rocket science things, man. These are simple, but they're intentional and they're necessary for development. And again, I applaud you guys for implementing that. That's wonderful.
Oh, we appreciate it. And I think it makes a huge difference. You talk about the sports psychology, just the framing of where it's at. And for us, we want to be able to equip those athletes so that when they do play college sports, that they're equipped for that, right? But also, Jesse, I think you still play basketball every day. I do not. But, at some point, the ball stops bouncing for all of us that are not two-sport professional athletes. So that for the rest of the crowd, we're all not doing that. But at some point, who you are is going to outlast the basketball. And I just think that's the most important part. Like, I was really proud to play professionally, be able to play in the NBA, like, great. But still at 27, 28, I'm done playing. My brothers, they won't need to work another day in their life if they don't want to, but who they are is still there. Yeah. And I think sports can shape those. I get concerned that sometimes sports is shaping just for the sports, and their identity and who they are is not going to be there. And for us, it's faith and character to be able to ground those things. But I just, that for me becomes why we spend so much time traveling, and probably more time than she'd like me to be out there traveling and gone and coaching. But it's so valuable for where people are at. And you talk about these champions. So I was eating breakfast yesterday morning at Uptown, and I go to breakfast, and an individual walks up to me and says, are you Luke? And I said, yeah. And he goes, every day I quote champions from camp, and I went 10 years ago. And so you look at like the root of where it's at and where it's at, and this young man is doing really well. Asked him what he's doing. He's graduating. We're getting coffee coming up and connect. But just that impact you hope lasts like that. But he didn't talk to me about his jump shot. He didn't talk to me about what drilling station he was in. But he came to a basketball camp, and what he's talking about a decade later is the Champions acronym and who he is. And we hope we can make a difference for every individual that comes to Distinction this year, that a decade from now they're a better person, hopefully through being a better player today.
Amen. Amen. Again, it's funny when you talk about 16 years. Right now, you're moving cohorts, right? You're moving kids from youth, high school to college and beyond. So you're now getting to see the full continuum of your efforts, which has got to be very rewarding in that sense. Again, for every kid who comes up to you in Uptown, dozens, hundreds are out there having that experience, and that's that's a wonderful thing.
That's right. That's right.
You talked about the research behind it, right? So again, an empirical base is always necessary. It's intuitive, right? It makes sense. And this is Indiana. This is basketball. We should be awesome at it. But the intentionality behind the programming comes, I'm sure, from a lot of the research you do. Tell us a little bit about kind of some of the things that are standing out to you in that world.
Yeah, so I'd say, it was a whole new world for me. But over time, I have found that there are essentially two questions that I've been trying to answer over the last 16 or so years. The first one is one that really surprised me in coming into the sport world is, who does the work that makes sport possible? And my answer is that intersection of sport and family. And then on the other side is, how can we make sport and do sport in a way that builds the athletes and the people around them? So how can we use the work to get the people done rather than the opposite, right? And so on those two trajectories of understanding how the people involved in sport and the systems behind it, how we can use it to develop athletes and even the people that will eventually work in sport. First, it started out as the sport and family, the intersection of how family support, the family structure and the family system really support sport almost at every level. And the only way that athletes can be successful oftentimes are the people behind them that are doing a lot of work that they're not getting recognition or pay for. So I started there and worked with sport wives, professional sport wives, so any athlete wives or coaches' wives. And that naturally grew into the work that we were doing at DistinXion and how parents are involved in their athletes' lives and how they can support the athlete. And at the same time, we were building DistinXion, and a huge part of the DistinXion organization was to build up our interns. Luke mentioned interns earlier. And we had this kind of life cycle of DistinXion where we brought in students from like 2 to 8, 8th grade in our camps. Then they went through camps or teams in high school, and then some of them even became interns at the college level. And so we had this kind of human development process that we were seeing kids from young all the way through graduating college. And even now, some of them are good friends of ours now, and they're doing amazing things. We've launched them out into the world. And so I think my research development has developed with those things in mind, that now I'm focusing on how can we train the next sport leaders to be doing good things in sport, right? To be doing sport the right way. And so through my time at DistinXion, I wanted to get my PhD so that I could work with college students, just like I was at DistinXion, but I wanted to do it even more. And so I have moved over time into working with college students in the sport world and out of the sport world, that how we can build them and create the next generation of leaders to be a positive light in a dark culture sometimes.
Yeah, I hear that. Sport is the best institution of socialization we have in society. Yet we need to, steer it in the right direction to get the right things in front of these kids, right? To that point, then, based on the research and trajectory, you and I talked about, you have a book coming out. Tell us about the book and how that might be useful for parents and for coaches and for leaders, for that matter.
So the book is the first of its kind. It's called The Business of Youth Sport. This one is the first one in which we acknowledge what is actually happening in youth sport across the whole sphere of it, right? I think a lot of academics love to say what should be, and Cassie and I, my co-author, and I have taken the kind of lens of saying this is what it is, and if we don't acknowledge what it is, how can we change it? How can we make it better? And so we take on the very difficult and complicated task of describing the business side of youth sports. And so we cover all topics from organization systems all the way to technology that's used in youth sport, NIL, and how that is, evolving and changing. And so we tackle some of the really difficult subjects around youth sports and how we can better help the future leaders in youth sport to make sure that we're doing it the right way.
Love it. Again, it's easy for me to, wag my fingers, no man, I don't like it. It's different, right? It's not the same. When I played in college, when you played in college, we played, for 4 years. Those were our ride or die homies. My son's playing Division I college football at 2 or 3 different schools. That's a different model. Do I like it? No, but is it bad? Not necessarily. It's different. And I think we have to, like you said, really dig into what it is, understand the landscape, and then from that point we can make changes. So I want to pivot now, and we'll come back into more of the ways around youth sport. But we're talking about basketball. It's Indiana, and we have listeners who sent us in questions. So I just got one in our inbox that I'm gonna pull up in front of us, and then I have a video that might help answer this question. So a guy named Wilbur Flotch from Hickory is talking about how hard it is for small schools to win state championships. And kind of how the hell did you do it? And to help answer Wilbur's question, I'm gonna play this video.
Here we go. Justin Smith. He's going to find Luke Zeller. Luke Zeller at midcourt. Puts it up at the buzzer.
Man, it's like Wilbur, he's all excited. Holy mackerel.
Put a robe on, man. That's what I look like, huh?
State championship, half-court shot game winner, dude. Man, tell us about that. That's
a good day.
That's legend and lore.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good day. I think one of the biggest things for me was representing home. You've got 18,000 people in the arena. I've only got 11,000 people in my hometown, and so just representing home. And I wanted to take the shot, to be honest, in case I missed it, because I wanted that on me, not my teammates. You talk about your college teammates and being able to be there. And then the other part, it's not super fancy, but I practiced a lot, and I went from a 185-pound freshman to a 245-pound senior, and the three-point line scooted back a little bit to shoot a jump shot from out there. So, a lot of time and repetition, and I'd love to tell you there's something fancy to the whole thing. Obviously, being able to be there, and then that was a play we practiced at the end of every day. So we knew we were going to run. We practiced. We were ready to be able to be there. It was still pretty cool, though. So being able to, I'll never forget, I was, kind of going out and praying before I got out there and just praying, hey, God, if this doesn't work out, let me be able to accept the loss for home with great grace. Let me be able to do it with dignity. Glad we got here. Everything else, let me be able to be a man of character. And then kind of hands on my knees, just standing there underneath the basket, and I said, but if you could make us win this game, that'd be pretty cool. So I throw that in all my prayers now, Jesse. Anytime I'm like, hey, let me accept this loss with grace. If you could go ahead and allow us to win, that'd be great. So I throw that in a lot of my prayers now, since I feel like God helped.
That's well played.
Yeah.
So
it was a good day.
Yeah, and again, we talk about basketball, small town, representing community. This transitions us into the Zeller family, right? And you don't need to be from Indiana to be familiar with that name. All you and your brothers, Luke, Tyler, Cody, all 7-footers, all 3 played major D1 college basketball in Notre Dame, North Carolina, Indiana. All 3 played pro hoops, and here's my favorite part. All 3 you were either at or near the top of your class while still leading Washington High School to state championships and earning Mr. Basketball honors. But I'd love for our listeners here, what was it like growing up in the Zeller household?
Well, similar. I was older and bigger, so I beat up on them when they were younger. I hope it paid off for them. But, Tyler's 3 years younger than me. So, actually, that state championship, if you ran it back, Tyler's there. Pretty cool story on Tyler. So, Tyler was a freshman, was playing JV all year. He makes the tournament team. We're heading into semi-state. It was him and one other individual that could dress. The way the tournament rules work, there's one more. And so our coach called in, Tyler and Kyle, and said, hey, who wants to dress for semi-state? And Tyler said, well, my brother's going to win state. You can take this one. And just said, hey, we're going to state. You can take this one. So Tyler's first game dressing varsity was with that shot. Wow. And so pretty cool to kind of pass the baton, if you will, to fast track 3 years later. He's leading the state and couldn't be more proud of him. Leading the state in scoring with 33 points a game, wins his own state championship. Cody was playing as a freshman. There's a couple of fun stories of Tyler yelling at Cody when he was a freshman, missing a box out. But then Cody goes on to win a few. And so I couldn't be more proud of who they are. But, yeah, we were competitive as all get out. I mean, there's still a spot, and they found it when I moved out. But we were playing on, the hoops on the back of the door. Well, Tyler went up for a shot, and allegedly I fouled him. But ultimately his head hit the wall. So maybe I bumped him a little bit, but there was a giant hole in the wall. And so Reggie Miller was my guy growing up as an Indiana kid. So I got a Reggie Miller poster and covered that thing up. Well, my parents didn't find it until I moved out of high school. I was like, listen, that's Tyler's head. He can sign it and just leave it there. But yeah, I mean, it was competitive. It was fun. But my dad was the youngest of 12. One of the biggest things my dad told me, my grandpa was a World War II veteran. Unbelievable stories about grandpa on my dad's side. But he used to tell my dad and all his brothers and sisters, and he passed this to us, you guys can heckle each other all you want. And I think that's where Hope's in the family now too, and each of our wives. Like, you can heckle each other all you want, but anybody messes with somebody outside of the family and you don't stick together, you mess with me. And my grandpa was like World War II MP, like you didn't want to mess with that. So my dad kind of had the same thing, like heckle, be competitive at home, but like outside of here, there's no sibling rivalry. Mm-hmm. And it was cool to see Dad kind of pass it on from Grandpa and be able to be there. So yeah, a lot of sibling rivalry, a lot of back and forth. You know, I was number 1 in my class, Cody was 2, and Tyler was 3. You know, so there's no rivalry like that, but you know, pretty cool. Tyler didn't want to give a speech, so he intentionally got 3rd. So I don't know, maybe he was successful, Jesse. Like he accomplished his goals of not giving a speech. So I don't know, is that success or not?
Yeah, somebody said for that. That's hysterical. And then so high school, and then you're growing up, and now you're adults. And what was it like then having other brothers in that basketball world? And again, there's no one right here. It's Indiana. The Zeller name is a household name. How was that, you know, as you grew up into adult for you?
I'll back up first. The household name's still weird to me, Jesse.
I feel you. I know you as a good dude, and so the idea of a household name is a abstract thing, but it's a real thing, right?
And I respect that, but I don't know. I don't think we see ourselves that way. I don't think we see each other that way. Like, honestly, I still feel like I'm a small town kid from Washington. I grew up as a country kid that enjoyed playing a sport and enjoyed getting better at something, enjoyed my teammates. I feel incredibly blessed to have made the NBA and have a journey and have brothers that made the NBA and, you know, did what they did. But I don't know. It's still, that part's still weird to me. So anyway, I
feel you, and that's reason number 762 why I like you. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
762, not 762.
Well, my wife has 7.62 reasons why she likes me. So I'm glad to hear that they're there. It's not 0, so we're in good shape there as our anniversary. 16 years is next week. But you know, I think just for each of us as you get into that realm, like there still is that small town. Like we're very proud to be from a small town, but then just grateful for opportunities. Like I think of even, you know, Cody in the NBA Finals. Like we went to watch him when he played, and he's just grateful as all get out. Now he's got the mask on, and Jokic was kind of, you know, a little tough to guard as he was for everybody in the NBA that season. But, you know, like he was grateful to be there. He was grateful for the opportunities. We're still grateful for the stories, and I think that's why we want to give back. That's why Hope's researching on youth sport of like, hey, that was really cool for our journey. Could we create that for the next generation? I mean, Jesse, it's what you do on a daily basis to be able to teach the next generation. Like, for what we've been given, yes, NIL has changed. Yes, transfer portal's changed. It's different, but sport's still there. It's still basketball. Like we can, and where I would put is I could take a tape measure out and go old school Hoosiers, since you brought it up. Now it's on my mind, and we can still take a tape measure out. NIL's here. People are switching teams and everything else. But, man, the basketball hoop's still 10 foot. We still got 15 feet to the free throw line. Like, I think we all need a little bit of a reset of, yeah, AAU culture is different. I get it, but it's still basketball. It's still this game that I absolutely love, I think can teach you who you become. And so, anyway, long-winded way of getting to the NBA was cool, but I think the basketball and the relationships was the coolest part of the whole thing. And I'll never forget, I didn't make the San Antonio Spurs, but I was in training camp with them. We had a scrimmage, and I came in with Chip England, who I just adore. He went from the Spurs to the Thunder. He's in the book by Daniel Coyle, and he is just the most unbelievable mentor, NBA from Duke, and just phenomenal person. And I'll never forget, I was looking through my shots on an iPad, and Chip pulls me aside, just me and him, and Sean Barks is my coach on the side, and he said, you know, when you're done playing, you won't remember any of these. All you're going to remember is your teammates, the relationships, and the friends you have. Make sure you don't miss that. And he's like the world leading shooting coach telling me this stuff. But again, back to that San Antonio Spurs best culture of character. And like, I learned some of those things. I tell those stories to some of the players I coach now of like, hey, don't forget this. And I think that's some of the things that are different now. Now it's one season instead of 4 years, but it's still one season.
Yeah.
Like, let's not lose that it's still 9 months that they're together. Like, that's not 9 days. That's not 9 minutes or 9 hours. Like, it's still 9 months. Okay, it's shorter, but still, relationships matter. Culture matters. I mean, we saw it here in Bloomington about how that culture and relationship that they built leads to a national championship. So, anyway, the NBA was really cool, but still basketball, still relationships, still people there.
I love it. It's a beautiful game. It's a simple game, and relationships are the glue that binds everything together to make it work. Yeah. What was it like for you, Hope, being an outsider? You're an insider now. You're embedded in the system, 16 years. Congratulations coming up. What was it like coming into the family for you?
Whew. Well, they have the best hometown. Washington, Indiana's small town, he mentioned, and having, at that time, I think it was just 2 Mr. Basketballs when we met. It was just him and Tyler. Cody was still in high school, so he didn't have it. But I didn't know, to be completely honest, I didn't know the Zellers before I met Luke. And I knew that like he played basketball, but I didn't know what that meant. And so the first time he brought me home to Washington and we're like driving in town and his name, him and Tyler's name is on the like sign, like
Right.
City of Washington, home of like, you know, Bushy and the Zeller, and I was just like, where am I? You know, and but they just have the most supportive hometown. And I told him at that time when we would go and watch Cody, it was like I felt a little bit of a fishbowl, you know, that I like people knew me and I didn't know them, and it took me off guard. But the Zellers are so humble that it was such a master class in how to, no matter where you are or no matter what you're doing, like just the integrity to have. So it was an adjustment at first, and you definitely have to give to the lifestyle. You know there is that 2-person career thing that I talk about in my research is definitely a real thing, but also it's been what a blessing it is to be able to be a part of something that God's doing in their life, you know, and through the family as a whole. So when I was the only girl before I had my sister-in-laws, it was definitely a little more difficult to, you know, like family Thanksgivings and stuff like that. Like all they wanted to do was like go to the gym, and like I'm like I can't help here, you know,
Right.
but it was it's always been a lot of fun, and they're just solid people, so it's easy to kind of assimilate into their family.
And Jesse, I think she's done the research on sports and family, but you all have more degrees than a thermometer, and so I'm way underclassed here. All I have is my experience, but going through, and my journey was a little different. We moved, 30 plus times in 5 years, made the NBA my 4th season. 3 seasons before that did not. And,
Right.
That's a whole different episode, different journey. But I think the biggest thing is that you get to a spot without her being committed to me and the dream and the goal. I don't make it. I mean, like, I'm on the couch after a second nose surgery, and the plastic surgeon left and said, if you want me to make you look good afterwards, let me know. Jesse, I had 2 surgeries in 3 months. Like, what's he doing? So, but you come out and you're making $70 for the month and laying on the couch, and I think she lovingly said this, but said, you broke your nose, not your arms, your legs. Why don't you go to the gym and work out? I needed that, right? Like, you need somebody to be with you. And so awesome that she gave up for 5 years her career on the PhD and the grad school. So it's been really cool that we've been able to stay here in Bloomington. I'm glad we ended up meeting you and being here in Bloomington and being here, but not moving since then. And staying in one place so that I could say thank you. And it's been really cool. And I think that's where, again, sports teaches you marriage, sports teaches you life, sports teaches you family. And so I think it's really cool what we've accomplished, but I think there's so many people that have helped us. And I think that's for me, it's you, and then, it's hometown. It's some of the, I think that's where the game is truly a beautiful game. And Thank you.
That's a beautiful story. So we're gonna test it though. So we have a game.
Let's do it.
The game's called Know Your Zeller, and so Hope, we have 5 questions prepared for you to test how well you know your brothers-in-law. I'll ask a question, you give the answer, and I'll let the judges, Luke, tell you if you are correct. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Let's see,
We'll
16
start off with an
years.
easy one. Which Zeller brother is the tallest?
Ooh, well, last time they were measured that I know of, it was Tyler. By
Okay.
Can I do gladiator? I feel like
Gladiator.
gladiator is the right thing to do, where it's like, woof.
Got it.
That was right.
Boom. 1 for 1.
oh, there he is.
All right.
That was a good hairline.
That was. Which Zeller brother was valedictorian of Washington High School?
Oh, well, that's Luke.
Yeah.
That would be Luke. Yeah.
Good answer. Question number 3, you're 2 for 2. Which brother played tennis in high school?
Ooh, that's Cody. He's got the best footwork of. But wait, did Tyler play?
Ooh, this is a good question. Thank you to the committee. Pondering, thinking deeply.
I think Tyler may have played tennis, not probably as long as Cody.
Are you using all 4 degrees while thinking through this? Is this what it looks like to have 4 degrees? Is that how you both feel all the time? Like you think that deep? Like I just have 1.
I know Cody for sure, and it helped his footwork. Tyler, I think,
I'm
did.
just gonna hold it.
How long can I make you hold it?
Oh, I still good shorter stability. I had surgery on this one, so it's good.
Cody for sure, but I think Tyler also did for like brief time. But I'll say Cody for sure.
I look forward to Jesse's picture.
Final answer?
So what's your answer?
Cody for sure. For sure. I know Cody. But Tyler was too. Just for a little bit.
We one of these? Is that what we're doing?
I know, right? You answered both.
Both.
I knew
I
it.
give it to you, yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll give you that.
Yes.
3 for 3. Now, the 4th question. Which brother used to play horse with Brad Stevens, now president of basketball operations with Boston Celtics?
That would be Cody because Luke was being recruited by Brad. Brad's a great dude. And at the time, Cody was really young, if I remember right. And so Brad, in all his niceness, just played around with Cody on recruiting trips and stuff.
So Cody's right, but Brad was assistant coach. Todd Licklider was recruiting the head coach, so Brad was the assistant, had to take care of it. So it's fun to see Brad's journey.
Foe for foe. Last one. And this is, again, in line with my research, my clinical work. Which brother has had the most concussions?
Oh, they've all had too many to be safe. But I am going to say Cody because I think he probably played the longest. Also, he was better at hiding them.
That's probably not good to put out in the world, but
No, but I
Okay,
also
take that back.
so, yeah, I can relate to that, yeah.
But I think it was Cody. I think it's Cody.
All right. And the answer, Judge?
none of us remember.
Yeah.
No idea. We only hit the head too many times.
Congratulations, you crushed the Know Your Zeller. I want to part with a final question, and I want to preface that with another question. I know I'm complicated, but to set that up, have you guys seen The Odyssey yet? Out of curiosity?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Okay. Well, you gotta see it, it's good. And there's a scene where Odysseus lands in the island with the giant knights, and Christopher Nolan doesn't really like CGI, and so there's a picture of he hired a whole bunch of like 7-foot dudes go in armor and like go up there. Did you guys get a call for that at all?
No, but I've been trying to get a few things started. I'm doing the ESPN color commentary, trying to get a podcast started. But that might be my avenue in where I don't have to do anything other than be big. I think.
The armor on and go whoop it up.
Well, yeah. She claims I break a lot of things, so I might be good. I have a good resume.
Yeah. So it leads to my final question. What's it like to live with a giant? And actually, I'm sorry, the question's for Luke, because yes, you're a 7-footer and you're a big dude, but
I agree.
that's Dr. Hope Zeller right there, man. What's it like to live with a mental giant? Luke?
No, I totally agree. Well, number one, she uses all 4 degrees to think through things. I don't tend to think through things a whole lot, Jesse. I'm more of a, hey, coach told me to go run through a brick wall, and I'm just asking which wall. So she thinks deep. She thinks well. She makes me better because of that. Sometimes before I go do things, she'll say, have you thought about this? And the answer is usually no. I'll think about things when it's basketball or strategic or some business, but some things she thinks much deeper. And then I just admire how much she can dive in on research and research and research and research and then research the research and then be able to look at what might be there and challenge both herself and others with her textbook, with just all the details she has. And so I just kind of admire what she does, because I don't tend to do those things. I mean, I like working hard. I like being able to get better at things. But on that intellectual, academic side, I wouldn't put myself anywhere close to that. And so just admire what she can and has done. Again, the more degrees than a thermometer is so true. She's got multiple. I just need a small space for mine. And she's earned every one of them. And then the impact that she makes with every person that she's had, every student, every conversation. I mean, she'll leave go to have a conversation for a cup of coffee. I'm trying to make sure I get to the next meeting. She's 2 hours later talking to people and making a difference, because not only does she think deeply, but she cares deeply. And so, yeah, the mental giant is 100% true, and I think she's been the giant for a lot of people in their lives, and me included.
That was really
Beautiful.
nice.
That wasn't it?
I didn't even write it down. I didn't go off script. Hold on, Jesse.
You
Hold on.
say that.
Jesse, I wasn't supposed to say that. Hold on, here's the script. This is what I was supposed to say. Apologize. I went off script.
Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you both so much for doing this. This is a really good conversation. It's going to be really useful for our viewers. And again, I just love getting the chance to talk to you. So we got to go grab that beer again really soon.
Agreed.
Thank you both so much for your time, and thanks for all you do. And again, as someone who believes in youth sports, seeing what you guys are doing in Distinction is a breath of fresh air, and then all the things you're doing academically, Hope, and all the things you're doing on the court, coaching, Luke, and organizing, it's awesome. So kudos to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having us today.
We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Awesome. So for United viewers, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you later.
Time 44-41, and a touchdown wins it. Snap back to Hilinski, drops back, has time, passes left, caught, made at the catchment of the 20-yard line, more to the 10, runs for the win, dives for the pylon.